Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is doing well tonight. Seems like it's been forever since I've got on here live with you guys for anything, but I've been busy getting job applications in and doing some interviews and getting some stuff set up for work. So I finally had time tonight to get on here. This is kind of going to be our case of the week for this week. I had not intended for it to be the case of the week this week. I actually had something else, but as you saw as a thumbnail there, the West Memphis Three is back in the news. The Arkansas Supreme Court has finally made a ruling on whether or not this DNA evidence could be tested. They have ruled that it can be tested. So I'd been talking for a while about doing a series of videos, like little bite-sized chunks of the West Memphis Three case, not necessarily with any new or groundbreaking information, but just kind of for anybody who's not heard of it. If there's anybody out there who's never heard of this case, and there could be some people in places that haven't heard of this case, but for the most part, I'm going to go on the assumption that most everybody has heard of it. But I just wanted to kind of give like I said, give it in bite-sized portions because there's a whole bunch. I mean, this is one of the most talked about cases ever. Just lots and lots of stuff, and people have an opinion. Usually it's not a gray area for most people. They either think that Damien Echols, Jason Baldwin, Jesse Miss Kelly are guilty, or they're not guilty and somebody else did it. Me, I have my opinions, but of course I was not there. I do not know exactly what happened or who did it. I have thoughts and opinions and theories, but just kind of, I also wanted to do, another reason I want to do some videos on this case is just from a perspective of how close I am, because I'm only about an hour and a half from West Memphis. And just to kind of give you an idea of what the atmosphere was like back then, the thoughts and opinions of locals, being in the Bible Belt. In my opinion, that had a lot to do with. This is just my opinion. You know, being in the Bible Belt had a lot to do with the outcome of this trial. It was back in the 80s, the era of the what they called the Satanic Panic. Back in the 80s, any of you of a certain age, if you grew up in or around the 80s, know what the Satanic Panic thing was. Anything and everything from music to movies to anything had to do, with evil, nefarious things. Tonight, though, I'm going to give you read an article about and this news came out yesterday here locally in Central Arkansas about the Arkansas Supreme Court's ruling that the evidence can be tested. Now, I'm not an expert, but I'm sure the district courts in Arkansas will if they can appeal it or have, they'll fight it any way they can. Once again, this is my opinion. But like I said, the Arkansas Supreme Court has ruled that it can be tested. Now it is just getting it tested. And in my opinion, I don't see what what took so long. Well, I have my opinions about why it took so long. As far as the state of Arkansas, the district that it was handled in, Crittenden County, I believe is where West Memphis is in. I have my opinions on why they don't want this, have never wanted this evidence tested, but we'll get into that in later episodes. Tonight, I just wanted to bring you the article about the Arkansas Supreme Court ruling, and then what I'm going to call the first episode in this series of videos I'm going to do, just give you the basic information about the crimes. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts, please leave them in the chat, or if you're watching on replay, please leave a comment. Like I said, everybody has their opinions one way or another, and everybody's opinion is welcome here and appreciated. Just be respectful of each other, be respectful of victims, always respectful of the families. And I have a good community here, so I'm not really worried about any problems. But we can have nice adult conversations about this case, because this is one of the cases that kind of gets a little people stirred up a little bit. But anyway, let me quit babbling on and see who's here, and then we'll get into it. Mickey is here. Hello, Mickey. Good to have you here. One of my wonderful mods. Yes, please, everybody, hit the like button while you're here, or if you're watching on replay. If you haven't subscribed, please check us out. I'm a Southern Gal True Crime, Dawn. I share missing persons, cold cases, current true crime in the news for anybody that's new here that doesn't know. So please consider subscribing if you haven't. Like I said, leave a comment if you're watching on replay. Leave a comment in chat if you're here live with us now. Share the video. Any family, friends who are into true crime or might think that this live stream video was interesting or informative. Any true crime groups you may be in. Please share. It helps the channel tremendously. I'm just a small channel, so anything and everything helps. So I appreciate that. Let's see. Arctic Fox True Crime is here. Hey T, how you doing? Always good to have Arctic Fox True Crime here. Arctic has a very good channel. Please do go check him out. You can find the link to his channel if you go to the homepage of my channel. Scroll down where it says visit our friends below. Arctic Fox True Crime is linked there. Mickey, if you're still here, I don't know if she's still here. You can throw Arctic's link to his channel in there. So welcome. Chris Gideon's here. Hey Chris, always good to have you here. I appreciate you. Michelle is here, another one of my wonderful mods. Hey Michelle, how you doing? Thank you for coming in. Let's see who else we got. Any comments we got before we get started? Thank you very much, Chris. Says congrats on 600 subs. Yep, we are getting there. I think it's 604, 605. We're doing it. We're getting up there, guys. And I think the last time I checked my analytics, we only needed like maybe 6 or 7, maybe 9 more watch hours to get the 3,000 watch hours. We already surpassed the 500 subscribers. If we get the 3,000 watch hours, then I can apply to be able to do memberships and super stickers and super chats and things of that nature. So just a little bit of something to strive for. So thank you, Chris, for that. Arctic T says news on the Melissa Witt case too. I haven't looked today, but I know you sent me, and I was going to talk about it maybe a little bit tomorrow night. Just like I said, tonight in the West Memphis Three, we're going to read you a short article. I'm going to read you a short article about the Arkansas Supreme Court ruling, and then we're going to go over just the crimes of what happened. And then tomorrow night I was going to go over, I have found a website that had the petition that was put forth to the Arkansas Supreme Court, and has some interesting information in it about this evidence from the West Memphis Three that they had it. Apparently, it was never really. Of course, back in '93 when this happened, you didn't have the technology forensics to be able to test DNA that we have now in 2024. But in 2007, there was some. Well, first, the evidence mysteriously either was lost or destroyed. 2007, it mysteriously, around 2007, 2010, it mysteriously reappeared after Damien Echols and whatever lawyer he had at that time filed a lawsuit for the DNA to be tested. It mysteriously reappeared after it supposedly either been gotten lost, destroyed, lost in the fire, but at any rate. So I thought tomorrow night we would go over some of the story behind that evidence, and then when it was tested, what was found, when it was tested. But yeah, anyway, back to the Melissa Witt case. Arctic said there's news. I know the other day you sent me a link to, and I have been keeping up. Melissa Witt case is another one of my cases in my heart. Arkansas case. I have done a couple of videos on it, but you sent me that article about because here about a while back I had read an article by LaDonna Humphrey that there was supposedly a name in the diary of Melissa's diary that they thought could be the offender, and now you sent me that link, and I of course read that article that you sent to me, and a couple more I found that maybe somebody, a potential offender, might have said that he had her. She wore a Mickey Mouse watch, and that it was missing from when they found her body. And that a potential offender or person of interest had bragged or said that he had the watch, and told maybe a roommate. Now I don't know if there's something besides that that's come up. So just let me know if there's something besides that, or you can private message me on Messenger, or email me or whatever if there's something new. Yes, I definitely, like I said, I haven't got a chance to look at anything with Melissa's case in the last few days. But yes, I'd definitely be interested in if there's anything new. Thank you, thank you. It's all of us, not just me. It's the community. If it wasn't for my 600 and some subscribers, I wouldn't be able to sit here like I'm doing right now and a babbling here and having people watch me. But thank you very much. Arctic Fox, he says, I say not guilty. I'm assuming are you referring to Echols, Baldwin, and Miss Kelly? Yep, like I said, everybody's opinion is welcome. Oh, I thought that was a different Shauna. Shauna Hutchison says, hello, everyone. Welcome, Shauna. That's a new name. We do have a Shauna that's in here, but that's a different Shauna. Welcome, Shauna. Thank you for joining us. If you don't mind, let us know how you found us. It's always good to have new faces in here. Yes, thank you, everybody, for giving Shauna a warm welcome. Got another new name, Serena. Welcome, welcome. Serena says hello. First time watching, but I'm passionate about this case. Excellent. Excellent. Welcome, Serena. Good to have you here. As I said, it's always good to have new faces come in, new names. So welcome, Serena. Yes, I'm definitely passionate about this case too. Like I said, it's kind of home for me. I'm only about an hour and a half down the road from West Memphis. I've been to past and through West Memphis several times, and to Memphis several times, and of course in '93 when it happened, it was all over the news here where I live here in Central Arkansas, and I'm assuming all over Arkansas news, and then eventually national news, and now it's just like taking on a life of its own. So we welcome everybody that is passionate about it. So good to have you here. Yep. Chris says on the original suspects, he says, in his opinion, not guilty, but on Terry and his friend, his opinion is guilty. Yeah, we're gonna be maybe not tonight, maybe tomorrow night. We'll be doing a lot of talking about some possible alternate suspects, persons of interest, but I usually don't put names out there that haven't been publicly named or anything, but Terry Hobbs name has been released regarding this case in public records and by law enforcement because of some of the findings from this magical DNA that disappeared, or evident DNA that appeared and disappeared, and now it's back. And that's what this whole fight has been over for all these years, is to get this DNA tested. So yeah, Terry Hobbs is definitely a name that is in the mix. You're most welcome, Serena. Most welcome, my dear. Like I said, everybody is welcome. Another new name. Hello, Maisie. Hello, Southern Gal Chat. Welcome, May. Good to have you here. Seeing lots of new faces, new names and new faces. I see faces because I look at the avatars in the chat. Good to have you here, May. There's my OG. There's Michigan Wifey. Good to have you here, my dear. Always good to have everybody here. Chelsea says she's doing good and excited for tonight's live. Thank you very much. Like I said, it was a kind of a spur of the moment thing. I'd originally intended just to do a video for the case that I was going to feature for the case of the week, and then this new information, this new ruling from the Arkansas Supreme Court came, or was the information on it was released publicly yesterday on the news. So I'm like, oh my goodness. Like I said, I've been talking about, I know I've been talking about it forever about doing this series of videos on this case, but I just, I kind of want to treat it like with kid gloves, because like I said, it is close to my heart. Feels like, home to me, so close to me. And there's been so many videos and dissection, up, down, sideways, it's one of those cases that I want to talk about, but then again, I kind of pull back whenever I start thinking about, it's just one of those things. But we're just gonna go on a wing and a prayer here tonight, and give you some information for anybody who hasn't heard of it, and have some discussion with you guys in chat. See what you guys' thoughts are on this case, and we'll get through it. I'll get through it. We'll do the best we can here. So far, I shouldn't say anything, but so far my country signal, my swamp signal, whatever you want to call it, so far it's holding out pretty good. As soon as I said that, then it'll go wonky on me. But anyway, all right. I think I'm caught up. Oh, hey, Sunshine. Our Sunshine is here. Mind of Monsters. Always good to have Mind of Monsters here. Miss Sunshine, please do check out Mind of Monsters. You can also find her channel link in my friend section on my homepage. If Mickey or Michelle wants to stick in Mind of Monsters link to her channel, link to Arctic's channel, you may do so. Please, please. It is always good to have Sunshine here. I got to get caught up on your stuff, Sunshine. I think the last thing I watched was the coverage of the horrible case. Crazy case. I don't know if you guys have heard about it in Florida, about the lady that was carjacked, and then she was found, unfortunately, deceased in a burning vehicle. And now, Sunshine has been covered on her channel. Now, something about a police officer was arrested for something or other. It's just a crazy case. I've got to get caught up on that one. Like I said, I've been busy this week with some stuff. So Serena agrees. She says, in her opinion, I agree. The 3 convicted, not guilty. Wonderful. Shauna says she received an invite. I'm glad to be here. I don't know. I know Chris had PM'd me earlier and said that he invited somebody to come and check us out. I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but either way, good to have you here. Excellent. Serena says she is way up in Wisconsin, but I have a special interest with true crime. Excellent. Yeah, I have a brother that up north that lives in Minnesota. I call my middle brother because I have two younger brothers. He's the middle. I'm the oldest, and then I have the middle one in Minnesota, and then I have the baby brother. But welcome, welcome from Wisconsin. Serena says, in her opinion, she doesn't think Hobbs' friend, which is David Jacoby, was involved, but in her opinion, Hobbs is guilty. Yep, with that evidence, like I said, we'll talk more. We'll talk about it a little tonight, but more probably tomorrow night. What they found, some hairs. One was in the ligature of one of, I think it was Christopher Byers. I have to wait till I get my slideshow for tomorrow. A hair was found in the shoestrings. They were bound with the boys were bound with shoestrings, which we'll get into when I hurry up and get into the actual slideshow presentation part. But according to court documents and findings, a hair that was found on in the shoestring that was used to tie one of the boys, and I think it was the Christopher Byers, but don't quote me on that yet, was they said not inconsistent with Terry Hobbs. And then they found another hair, I think, on a tree stump somewhere in that area, and I think it was that hair that they said was not inconsistent with David Jacoby. They also found some DNA evidence, I think, from a swab they did on one of the boys' private areas. That is the DNA, for I understand that from the petition, which I'm going to read, go over tomorrow night. That is the evidence that they've been trying to get tested, starting in around 2010. They were petitioning to have it tested. Of course, the Echols, Miss Kelly, and Baldwin did the in 2011. That's when they did the Alford plea, and they got out of prison. And then since then, mainly Damien Echols has been fighting to get this evidence tested to prove their innocence, and then, as he puts it, to try to find who the real offenders are. Like I said, regardless if it was those three that did it or somebody else, just test the evidence, and maybe, hopefully, it's still viable enough to get some kind of result. Back in 2007, I think all they could tell was that the hair and whatever swab they took from one of the boys did not link. They've never had any evidence as far as physical DNA evidence that linked Echols, Miss Kelly, and Baldwin to the crime. All they had basically was Jesse Miss Kelly's confession, which a lot of people believe it was coerced, and circumstantial evidence but they were convicted. But like I said, it was not really overturned. They took the Alford plea, and we'll get in, for anybody who doesn't know what the Alford plea is. We'll get into that a little bit tomorrow night. But anyway, and I apologize for my scratchy nasally once again. Down here in Arkansas, the allergy season. So, and I have my window cracked to try to let some air in here because I'm about to burn up. But so anyway, I apologize for the yep, exactly. Yep. I'm behind in comments when I thought, but yeah, the hair and the shoe ties. That yep, yeah. They said it was, like I said, they said it was not inconsistent with Terry Hobbs. So exactly, Serena. Yes, ma'am. Welcome, P9 New York. Good to have you here. Welcome, welcome. Always good to have P9 here. You making it in at the beginning this time. I think the last live stream I had, and I can't even remember when it was. You guys may have to remind me. A couple weeks ago. P9 got in on the end of it. All right. Get caught up. Tony's Place. Good to have you here, Tony. I see you. I've got to get back over to the think tank. I see Tony on my Discord. I see him in Discord and also on Miss Frankie chat in the think tank. Miss Frankie Rose, another good channel. Her channel is also linked in my friends section on the homepage, on my homepage, my channel. So good to have you here, Tony. Oh, I feel like I'm just sweating up a storm. I'm fogging up my glasses. It's humid down here. We had rain yesterday, last night, and then we're supposed to have more rain coming in tomorrow. So it's humid. But anyway, that's life in Arkansas. Arctic can back me up on that. He lives in a different part of Arkansas than I do, but pretty much humid everywhere. All right, I think I'm caught up in comments, so it will let me share my screen. First, let me get a drink. I will read to you quickly just this brief short article for tonight about the evidence. Get the right layout about the Supreme Court's ruling. Oh, it actually came up. Hallelujah. All right. So this one is from katv.com. It's one of our local news station websites, and it is from yesterday. As you see there, it says Arkansas Supreme Court green lights new DNA testing in West Memphis Three case. And, oh, it says the Arkansas Supreme Court has ruled in favor of a petition for new DNA testing in the West Memphis Three case, reversing and remanding a Crittenden County Circuit Court ruling. The opinion delivered on Thursday stems from an appeal filed by Damien Echols, who said he was denied his Act 1780 petition because he wasn't in state custody at the time. The justices said the circuit court, quote, erred by misinterpreting the plain and unambiguous language of Act 1780, which identifies who is jurisdictionally entitled to make a motion for relief under that act. It also says the circuit court failed to, quote, apply established principles of statutory interpretation. This stems from a January 2022 petition filed by Echols to have the DNA retested using a wet vacuum method, a method not available when testing was originally done. That DNA evidence, which was thought to have been lost by the West Memphis Police Department, was later discovered after the lawsuit is when this lost or destroyed evidence magically reappeared. It was discovered following a lawsuit filed by Echols in the Circuit Court of Crittenden County in 2021 over the West Memphis PD's failing to respond to a FOIA request regarding the evidence. The opinion noted three procedural arguments, including a subject matter jurisdiction. The court said the original petition was filed in Crittenden County Circuit Court, but should have been filed in Craighead County Circuit Court, where the conviction was made. Two, the Alford plea. Echols had entered an Alford plea, which the court says doesn't preclude him from challenging his conviction on the grounds of actual innocence pursuant to Act 1780. And a verification of petition, the court says, because Echols' attorney signed the petition, it meets the requirements of Act 1780. Echols, Jason Baldwin, and Jesse Miss Kelly Jr. were convicted in 1994 of taking the lives of three 8-year-old boys, for Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers. The boys were last seen riding their bikes in their West Memphis neighborhood on May 5th of 1993, and their bodies were found a day later in a drainage ditch. The three were released from prison on October 19th, 2011, after taking an Alford plea and placed on probation for 10 years. So that is the basics on, finally, we have a decision to, the Arkansas Supreme Court has ruled that the evidence can be tested. Now it is, just getting it done. And like I said, I don't know. I'm not by no means, I'm not an expert in the judicial system. I have basic knowledge of how it works. I don't know if this petition can be appealed by the circuit court, who never wanted it tested in the first place. So I'm sure it'll have to go through some more legal proceedings before tests are actually done. But let's hope it does not take too long for a decision to be made. Mom says, Sunshine says, did you see your dumpster fire? What dumpster fire are you talking about? I'm hoping to not have one tonight. I've heard you made reference to a dumpster fire though, in some of your other lives. So let me get caught up in yeah, Tony said dumpster fire. Yeah, Tony, if you haven't, I don't know if you've ever been to any of my lives, but more than once, I usually say, or always say at least once, my live stream can turn into a dumpster fire at any time. Either my country swamp signal will go out on me, or I'll push the wrong button and put myself in timeout, or put myself in the upside down or somewhere. And so, yeah, is at any moment it can turn into a dumpster fire. Yeah, Tony says that he's read a lot about this case. Absolutely. Like I said, I know there are probably people in places that have never heard of this case, but you know, I'm thinking at least if you're at least in the United States, unless you just not into true crime, or have your head under a rock for the past 30 something years, and that you probably at least heard some about this case. Yeah, there you go. There's Michelle explained it. Says dumpster fire is an inside joke about technology going wrong sometimes. Yeah, usually it's not. Well, sometimes it's the technology for my country signal. Sometimes it's the operator error for punching wrong buttons, or yeah. Yep, it's my dumpster fire. So if you guys have any, that is the question. One of the questions. Tony says, can law enforcement be trusted in this case? They convicted 3 boys that had nothing to do with it. That has always, in my opinion, now this is my opinion and a lot of people's opinion, that most of, trying to see how to put this, maybe some of the higher up officials, judges, maybe not so much, well, I don't know about prosecutors. There's a whole lot to this, but in my opinion, a lot of people that originally prosecuted this case, in my opinion, can't be trusted. In my opinion, well, like I said, going back to whether or not it was the 3 that did it or somebody else, in my opinion, the crime scene was botched, the investigation was botched, the trials were botched or yeah, there's in my opinion, there was some shady stuff going on. But I would love to know what you guys think. Get caught up, and then I'll quickly make it through my slideshow to just give you the basics of the crimes, and then, like I said, tomorrow night we'll go more into or tonight we can start it and maybe finish it tomorrow night more into a discussion of the evidence. Like I said, I found a website that has the petition that was filed, that was approved for whatever you want to call it by the Arkansas Supreme Court. Yes, Serena says it'll come up. Says it's a way for the state to cover their butts. I'm gonna say it butts, so they don't get sued. Yeah, that I don't know which part you're referring to. To me, that refers to just about all of it. I'm starting with the Alford plea because people have said, why would they, if they thought they were, because from the beginning of this case, they immediately honed in, taking certain people's word and opinions, honed in on Echols, Miss Kelly, and Baldwin. Didn't really consider seriously any other potential suspects or persons of interest, even though some who may or not be legitimate or viable persons of interest or suspects were brought to their attention. They honed in on it. They said, we've got our guys. We're 100% sure this is who they were. They took them to trial. They got the conviction. Then they started the appeals. The appeals were cut down, shot down, every appeal, even up to testing of the DNA starting in 2007, 2010, whenever all that started. But so going back to the Alford plea, I think that was the beginning of, yes, the Crittenden County, Arkansas circuit courts and all the involved officials saying, we might get sued. We got a lawsuit against us. We are getting sued. And for the and we got the Alford plea, so that everybody was saying, why did if they were so certain that they had the right men, why did they settle on this Alford plea that basically the three said they vacated the original convictions. They pled guilty to I think first degree and second degree, and it's basically they're admitting to or taking the charges, accepting the charges, pleading guilty, but maintaining their innocence. They were resentenced to 18 years and some odd 70 something days, time served, and they were let out. So everybody was like, if you're sure that you had them and they were guilty, why are you doing this and letting them out? I think a long-winded explanation of Serena says to cover their butts because they knew that with all this DNA that had been tested in 2007 and found out that it did not, the hair from the limited testing they had in 2007, the hair did not match any of the three. And so they said, okay, we'll do this. And as Serena said, cover their bums. That's just my opinion, though. I said that's probably a very poor explanation of that, but hopefully, welcome, Carrie. Good to have you here, Carrie Meyer. Welcome, welcome. Trying to welcome anybody that's popped in on me that I've missed. Oh, now a new batch of comments just popped up. Maybe, or maybe I hit the wrong Serena said that her boyfriend's family lives in Springdale. Nice, nice. Yep. Arctic says he agrees. Can't be trusted. If you're referring to at least the higher ups or some of the law enforcement that was Tony says the names in this case are a little foggy. It's been a while, but I know the case pretty well. Any names that are foggy, just pop them in chat, and either most likely somebody will be in chat will beat me to they'll know the answer to the question, or who what name person you're asking about, and if not, when I go back through comments after I do the slideshow, I'll try to answer them. Yeah, Tony says they got Miss Kelly, just Miss Kelly to confess, and it all went south from there. Yeah, to me, but confession is another thing, in my opinion, because he was slow, as Tony put it. He had an IQ, I believe, of around 71 or 72, which is, I think, what they call. I don't even know if I can say the R word and not meaning it in a derogatory way on YouTube without getting. But to be mentally handicapped, I'll put it, I think is your IQ has to be maybe 65 or lower, be considered mentally handicapped. It might be in 67, somewhere around there. And I believe Jesse's was 72. So they said he was borderline. So to me, I believe because I have listened to the confession, to his confession. I was, and before tomorrow night, I will try to find a link to the confession audio. Of course, I can't remember. I think they questioned him for around 12 hours or so, 10 to 12 hours, maybe not that long, 8 hours, but only like an hour and a half of it, I believe, was actually recorded. But I have listened to that hour and a half or whatever it was that has been released, or that all that was released publicly. And to me, in my opinion, their questions were very leading. I was heard of law enforcement leading somebody into a confession. That's just my opinion. Supposedly, he confessed more than once to maybe some police officers or somebody that was transporting him from one facility to the other. I think he made a confession, had told the story again. But yeah, in my opinion, it's sketchy at best. Sketchy at best. Caught up in comments again, and we'll make it through how long we've been. Oh, I'm under an hour. I'm doing good so far. Doing good so far. Yes, absolutely. This is another thing. Serena says Jesse confessed. They fed him info. They told him, this is true, they told Jesse that he failed the polygraph test, which come to find out from it, because I was reading through articles and documents and transcripts today to kind of freshen up my memory, because it has been a while since I've dug into this case. Of course, I have all the basics and most of it in my head, but just to brush up on some questions and info that might come up. Law enforcement did tell Jesse that he failed the polygraph test, although according to, and I can't remember who it was, maybe because his lawyer for his trial, Dan Stidham, he wrote a book called Harvester of Innocence, or something like that. And I think in his book he says, and then I've read other places, the only question that supposedly Jesse failed on his polygraph test was ask him if he did substances, and maybe he said no, and he did, or whatever. But yeah, so Serena's correct when she says they said he failed the polygraph, but he only failed the question asking him if he did substances. They also told him supposedly he took a piece of paper and drew a circle on it and said you can either be inside the circle with the offenders or outside the circle with law enforcement. They told him, and this is all alleged, supposedly. I don't know, just from what I've read. But from credible sources, they also told him that he could fry in the electric chair. Although I think it'd been either, Arkansas hasn't used the electric chair in DPs for years and years. But yeah, they told him also, and supposedly somebody said, I don't know where this footage came from, or supposedly said that there was somebody somewhere had seen footage of the interrogation or the room where they interrogated Jesse in. Somebody said that there was a baseball bat in the corner that could have been used to intimidate him. Now, I don't know about if that's true or not. I can't even remember. It was in one of the articles I was reading earlier, but yeah, to me, it's all like I said earlier, it's all a bit sketchy. Exactly. Serena also says, what teen doesn't lie about doing substances? Exactly. Exactly. Yep. Serena says they were desperate to solve the case and got tunnel vision. I agree with you there. I agree with you there. Like I said, I can speak from a personal standpoint of what it was like down here in the South in the Bible Belt in Arkansas during the 1990s going on. Say we had the satanic panic thing epidemic going, and then just living in the Bible Belt, the nature of things. And I'm a person of faith, but I also have my wild side. I dress like, because they said they are just because they wore black t-shirts and listened to heavy metal music and was interested in candles and whatever. When I was that age in the 90s, I was in my early 20s in the 90s, teens and early 20s in the early 90s. I wore, and even when I was, in my teens in school, I loved the heavy metal music, the hair bands, wore the black t-shirts, the concert t-shirts. I was into the weird stuff. Just because you're into weird stuff doesn't mean that, that doesn't mean that you're into nefarious satanic things, or that you're going to go out and take somebody's life. It's. So yeah, I agree. I believe that Serena said that they had a tunnel vision. Yeah, I think it was just the bad combination of things that happened during that time. Yeah, Tony says, after all this time, I would like to know who was responsible, even though I believe I already know who it was. That's all I want to know. I mean, like I said, didn't mean to type it down. I have my thoughts and opinions and theories, but in the end, it comes down to, like I said earlier, whether it was the three or it was somebody else. We just want to know, get justice for Christopher and Michael and Stevie. That's what it comes down to. Justice for them, justice to the family that they have left, because we'll talk maybe a little bit tomorrow night, but in one of my supplemental videos, well, I may do it tomorrow, I just have a little slideshow about some of the family members, and a lot of their family, their mothers and stepfathers are no longer with us. A lot of family members are gone. So my computer was being slow. Oh, getting off topic for a minute, but I saw Serena mention the Crescent Hotel. Says we checked out the Crescent Hotel so I could do more research, but that was incredible. Yes, I've stayed at the Crescent Hotel. I think it was for my 30th or 40th birthday present. We stayed a night at the Crescent Hotel, and then the second night we stayed at the Basin Hotel there in Eureka Springs. Both of them. I love both of them, but the Crescent was wonderful. We did the ghost tour. We did everything. To either here or on my second channel, Southern Guy Ramblings, we're going to have a paranormal theme show chat. That's another one of my interests besides true crime. Excellent. Sunshine said that she made me a layover or a backdrop. Excellent. Can you send that to me somehow, some way? You can email it to me. Um, I know I have on one of my banners my email address. I will definitely give you credit. There's my email address, southernguystruecrime@hotmail.com. Yes, I would love a layover or a backdrop. I had actually tried to do one myself, kind of as a side, as a background, but I could never get it, everything in the right place where something wasn't covered up. But yes, that would be most excellent. Oh, where'd you go? Uh, my comments jumped, but yes, let me see on the right comment. I would love to have it. Yes, Serena says there are so many dumpster fires going on with cases right now. Absolutely, I try to stay. I try to stay out of all those dumpster fires, but there's Lisa Joe. Hello, Miss Lisa Joe. Says she's probably the dumpster fire. No, Miss Lisa Joe, I'm glad to see you here. She was here one of the last lives that I did a couple weeks ago. She is the genealogist that I was talking about on my last live stream that I did. I can't even remember what case we were talking about, one of the cases of the week or whatever the live stream was that we were doing. That you were here and said that you were a genealogist. But welcome back, Miss Lisa Joe. Good to have you here. Oh, so I'm assuming. Oh, you're gonna come up. Oh, it should. There it goes. Sunshine said, check my Discord. So I'm assuming maybe the layover, the background is in Discord. I will definitely check my Discord. Thank you, ma'am. There's Miss Marion Tate. Good to have you here, Miss Marion. Says hello, everyone. Thank you all for putting our stories out there. I have grandbabies, so stay safe. Stay safe. All blessings to you all. Thank you, Miss Marion. You enjoy your grandbabies. Absolutely enjoy those grandbabies. Anybody doesn't know who Miss Marion Tate is, please check out either I've done videos on Timmy D's. Check my Fredericktown, Missouri case playlist. Miss Marion is Timmy's aunt, and I don't know if Miss Barbara is here, but if you ever see Miss Barbara Hall in the chat, she is Timmy D's mother. So always have all the respect and love for Miss Marion and Miss Barbara and any other family members that come in. Every once in a while, Miss Kimberly Lotz, Durante Martin's grandmother, pops in. So we're always honored to have family members of victims here. Thank you, Miss Marion. Says liked and shared. Thank you, ma'am. Miss Marion and Miss Barbara and everybody, a lot of people in here. Arctic and Chris Gideon are all so good about sharing out my videos, all the other creators' videos that we do about these missing person and cold cases that we usually stick to, about sharing our videos out. Tony says, and could a person now be convicted after the police botched it the first time? If they made a mistake then, could they be making one now? I'm hoping, because I was trying to read up on where some of the higher up officials, such as the judge that presided over the case, was David Burnett. He, after that case, he went on to become an Arkansas state senator. I believe he was defeated and got out of office, I believe, in 2015 or 2016, somewhere around there. We had Gary Gitchell, who was at the time, I think, assistant chief of the West Memphis Police Department. I don't know what he went on to do. I looked him up. I couldn't find a lot of information on Gary Gitchell. But I think David Burnett, after he didn't get reelected as senator around 2015, 2016, he went, I think I did search him, and he was linked, a LinkedIn profile that said he was some kind of basically not a resource officer, but had something to do with, he was the director of something with law enforcement at schools or something to that effect. So, and I don't know what Gary Gitchell is doing. I couldn't find anything on him. So I'm hoping, because my thought has always been, and my mom, because me and my mom talk about this, that the truth or some things about this case that have not been revealed by people won't be revealed until the higher ups in the case have either passed from this earth or they're completely out of law enforcement, the court system, the judicial system. People will gradually start talking, and some things can be done that weren't done back then. So that's what I've got my fingers crossed for, that maybe since Burnett is no longer in a position of power, Gitchell, I'm assuming, is not in a position of power that I know of. Now, if anybody else in chat or watching replay can find anything lately about where Gary Gitchell is and what he's doing, I couldn't find anything. So maybe once these people who held power, and some of the attorneys, maybe the prosecution, maybe if they get out of the picture and out of the way, people will be not afraid to talk or more willing to talk. I'm hoping that we can get some people in there who will do the right thing and at least hopefully get this. To me, getting this DNA tested and maybe trying to find something is a start, but there's a whole lot that needs to be done. Arctic T says this case is a lot like the Michael Crow case where McDonough got him to falsely confess. Yeah, Miss Lisa Joe says they wanted to close the case. Yep. In my opinion, they wanted to close the case. They wanted to close it quickly. There were some people involved that wanted to, once it started snowballing and getting national attention, they wanted to make a name for themselves. So I think that's what happened. That's my opinion, but that had a lot to do with it too. Yeah, let me get caught up. I still haven't made it to the slideshow. It's all right. We're an hour in. Some of my lives could turn into 2 or 3 or 4 hours. I gotta save some voice for tomorrow night, though. Exactly. Yes, Serena. That's the evidence that we're going to talk about probably more tomorrow night. I already got my thumbnail made. We're talking about the testing the evidence, and I kind of mean that literally and metaphorically, about the actual evidence that, like you said, yes, at first the officials, Crittenden County or West Memphis Police Department said, "Oh, we lost it, or it got burned up in a fire," and blah blah blah. And then as the years went on, and the lawsuit was filed, and then it mysteriously, oh, we found it, and that's the evidence that has been at the center of the contention point of. They've been trying to get it tested since 2007, 2010. And the circuit courts, Crittenden County, West Memphis, kept shooting it down because Burnett, at some capacity, was still, because like I said, after he was a judge, he moved up the ranks, and he eventually became a senator in Arkansas. And he kept shooting it down for the most part. Yeah, that is the evidence in question. And then we'll talk a little bit tomorrow night about what kind of the evidence they had at the actual trials, which was, in my opinion, not much. Basically, Miss Kelly's confession, which is, like I said, sketchy at best, and circumstantial evidence, and maybe, in my opinion, some corruption with some stuff. Try not to get too ahead of myself, because I do have a series of videos planned, and one of them is one of the episodes is entitled "Was there corruption, police corruption, official corruption?" It's always been a question of mine. That's excellent. Serena says, "I'm hoping to visit a friend in Memphis. We take our road trip late May, early June. I'm hoping to stop in West Memphis and pay my respects. I know they essentially got rid of the woods, though." That's excellent. Yeah, I don't know. They may have gotten rid of the woods. I don't know. They called it Robin Hood Hills, but yeah, it was woods. And I do in my slideshow have I'm eventually, I promise, I'm gonna get to my slideshow. Um, I do have pictures, aerial views of the Robin Hood Hills in the area, and the Blue Beacon truck wash, and things of that nature. But yeah, that would be excellent. If Yeah, absolutely, pay your respects. Yeah, like I said, no matter who the offender or offenders are, it all comes down to Michael, Christopher, and Stevie, the 3 8-year-old boys, the victims. Justice for them, justice for their remaining family members. Yeah, Sunshine said 12 hours. Oh my God, I would confess to you. I believe it was somewhere in the range of they questioned him. I've heard anywhere from 8 to 12 hours that they actually questioned and interrogated him, but only that's been they claimed only an hour and a half was actually recorded, which is when he confessed. Even though when I just don't want to get ahead of myself, but he got the initially got the time of day that this happened wrong, among other things. But yeah, it's just yeah, very, very sketchy. Yeah, Miss Lisa just said he had a low IQ, and it still took 12 hours. Yeah, Tony says, and the one kid says known to be a devil worshiper. Says, so put those together and you get a conviction. Yeah, he was at the very least suspected of being. Now I'm assuming you're talking, maybe referring to Damien Echols. He could, I'm not saying that Echols is an angel by any means. I happen to think, I mean, I have my questions about him and his actions after they were released and some of the decisions that he's made. But, even if, and I by no means endorse any kind of nefarious, you know, to each their own, but that, it doesn't necessarily mean that, and I'm not saying one way or the other whether I think, because I'm on the fence. One way one time I'll look at this case and say, maybe they did it. And then I'll look at other things that I know, and I look at it from both sides, from all sides. And I say, well, it could be, there's evidence to the contrary. So, but my point is, just because you may be into some what people would call weird stuff, it doesn't necessarily mean you took somebody's life. Now, I might, didn't mean you did that. He didn't either. Like I said, I don't know for sure. I wasn't there, so we have to look at all angles of everything. Absolutely, Carrie said that's a long time for a mentally disabled person. Yep. Thank you, Mickey, for putting in Arctic's channel. That's his channel link. Definitely check out our Oh goodness. Serena says they told Miss Jesse, they told him the polygraph could read his mind. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Yep, evidently not, Lisa Joe says. So they didn't record all of that though. No, from what I understand, anywhere from 8 to 12 hours they interrogated him, but only recorded an hour and a half, which is his confession. I said, I don't know. I wasn't there, but to me, yeah, there's a whole bunch, there's a whole bunch of sketchy stuff. Yeah, there's Miss Frankie Rose's channel, The Think Tank. Please check out Miss Frankie. Yep, I tend to agree with Serena. Says they only reported it once he was getting the story. They were feeding him straight. And then even in that hour and a half or whatever it was they released that I listened to, he was still, if they asked him a question such as what time of day it was, he still said, I believe in the hour and a half they released, he said it happened in the afternoon, which they know was not true because the boys were in school, and it happened somewhere in time after, on or around 6 o'clock or after, because around 6 o'clock was the last time that the boys were seen. So yeah, he was still getting stuff wrong, and they would say, well, are you sure? Are you sure? And they would kind of lead him in the right direction, the right time frame. Yeah, Miss Lisa Joe, I'm assuming you're going back to my comments about I will, listen to the rock and roll music and the metal music and more the black t-shirt and ripped jeans. And Miss Lisa said I would charge off them. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And Sunshine says the same thing. She says, me too. I dressed in camo and black and smoked the devil's grass. Yeah, I mean, you can't. Like I said, I don't know what happened. Yeah, obviously I wasn't. But you can't judge a book by its cover, guys. I mean, I'm not saying that they did or didn't, but you just, I guess, because I was always a weird kid. That's why I not really take offense, but just it irritates me when people look at somebody and the way they dress or the kind of music they listen to and say, oh, they're a bad person. Give me a break. Give me a break. And not just referring to Echols, Miss Kelly, and Baldwin. That's in life in general. You look at somebody and just because they look different or don't look what you would consider normal, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with them or that they're a bad person, or just because they listen to a certain type of music or dress a certain way or have tattoos or piercings or whatever the case may be. It's just, you got to get to know the person. It's on an individual basis. Yeah, the Serena is right. Says Jesse barely knew the other two teens just from around the neighborhood. They didn't really hang out. That's true. Yeah, Miss Lisa Joe said a bad combo of things that authorities made happen. I think, in my opinion, that figures into the mix, into the perfect storm of things that happen. That's just my opinion. Exactly. That's one thing we're going to talk about too, probably tomorrow night. Miss Serena says they were getting gossip from other kids and teens and using it as testimony. Yes, gossip from little teenage girls at what was it, a softball game or little league game, baseball game. Supposedly, a girl or two or a group of little teenage girls supposedly heard Damien heard Echols say that he did it and blah blah blah, and so they used that as testimony. And then we have I forget her name right now, but we're going to talk about her at some point too. The woman that they brought in on some other charges and kind of basically worked it in to the conversation about this case, and that they happened to get some kind of inside info or evidence that maybe her charges would be dropped. Oh, what was her name? We'll talk about her when we talk about witnesses and evidence. We might talk about it tomorrow night. And then her son supposedly chimed in and said, "Oh yeah, I was there." Her little young son, forgot how old he was when his name was. said, "Oh yeah, I was there. I saw it. They were out in the woods and having some kind of ritual and doing bad things." And then that was years later she recanted that story. So all the evidence and the testimony is slowly starting to unravel, and people are recanting. Family members are changing their minds about about their opinion about who is guilty and not guilty. So things are starting to unravel and fall apart a little bit, have been. Yeah, Miss Lisa is correct. She says, I'm fortunate to not have the experience. However, if I was a family member, I would want to know that the right people were charged. There it is. Absolutely. That's all. I think that's all. Anybody who follows this case for the right reasons and not just for the sensationalism, um, that's all we want to know is the truth. Like I said, if it's them or not, if it's somebody else. We just want the truth and want justice for the boys, for the three, for Echols, Baldwin, and Miss Kelly, if they didn't do it, and then most importantly for Christopher, Stevie, and Michael. I'm trying to get caught up in comments so we can get to the slideshow. Excellent. We got another future professional here. Miss Serena says, I love all things true crime and paranormal. We're going to get along fine then. We're going to be besties. And then she says, anything weird? She says, plus I'm getting my bachelor's in psychology, and after progressing, if I could talk tonight, to my forensic psychology master's. Excellent. Excellent, excellent. Yes, I have a niece who got her whatever her degree, whatever you got to have to be like basically a criminal profiler. Talk to the offenders, get inside their minds. And then the other niece is a social worker. Yep, I have a niece who's basically, I guess, what you would call a profiler, or whatever if I don't know if that's a layman's term or if there's an official name for it, but I'm trying to get caught up in comments, and I'll go quickly through the slideshow because I think most everybody here knows, but just for anybody who's here that doesn't know the basics of something is Miss Lisa Joe's jam. She says, I can find people that's my jam. Oh, Sunshine says she was in top chat. Geez, Sunshine, get your stuff together. You know I love you, lady. I love Sunshine. She's one of my favorite people, one of my favorite channels. And Arctic, love him, love his channel. And Mr. Steve, True Crime Web. Please check out True Crime Web. You can also find his link, and if Mickey or Michelle or somebody wants to throw in Mr. Steve's channel link, please do so. Mr. Steve and Mrs. Steve. Caught up and Serena says, yeah, Metallica was scary back then. Yeah, that's another thing I was reading in the it's the trilogy, the Paradise Lost, that now his name just flew out of my head. The ones that did the Paradise Lost, the trilogy. David Sanofsky, and I can't forget the other guy's name. They used Metallica. Let them. It was the first time Metallica had ever let any of their music be used in any kind of TV show or movie or documentary. But I love Metallica. Metallica is one of my favorite groups. Has been for a long time, since I was old enough to know who Metallica was. exactly. Arctic Fox says they basically profile the poor kids because of their interest in activities or presumed activities. Absolutely, my friend. As Lisa Joe says, I would argue that Metallica got a little scarier later. I'm not a huge fan of anything after the Black Album. Uh, yeah, I've heard that was the I can't remember what case that was, but yeah, Arctic said they did the same thing to Brendan Dassey, interrogated him for hours with no parents present, knowing he was mentally challenged. Yes. Yep. Miss Serena says they had to talking about Jesse Miss Kelly, they had to redirect him a lot on the confession. Yes. Serena says she was and still am the weird kid. I'm right there with you. Though I'm not, now I've turned into the weird instead of the weird kid, I'm the weird adult, the weird middle-aged woman. Yes, that's her name, Vicky Hutchinson. Thank you, Serena. Yes, Vicky Hutchinson was the person that got friendly with Jesse and eventually with Damien, and supposedly they took her, or Damien took her out to into the woods to this orgy in the woods and rituals, and she ended up recanting later, years later. And then, yeah, her son, whatever, however, she or whoever got him to come up with, in my opinion, that story about he was there and when the killing of the boys happened. Yeah, that poor boy was another victim. Um, yeah, yeah, it was Vicky Hutchinson, Vicky Hutchins, something like that. Yes, Serena, thank you. Yes, I've seen that documentary too. There are so many documentaries out there. There's the Paradise Lost trilogy. Joe Berlinger, that's who it is. Joe Berlinger and David Sanofsky or something Sanofsky, which originally they were back when I had still had HBO. They showed them on HBO. I've watched those numerous times. Of course, just about every documentary or anything you see on TV or streaming or wherever is going to be slanted towards their innocence, which that's fine. So you got the Paradise Lost trilogy. You got West of Memphis. I've also watched that one. Like that one came out. I can't remember what years. It came out a few years. It hasn't been too awful long. So I watched that. Of course, that's heavily slanted towards their innocence. You got A Devil's Knot, which is a fictionalized movie version of Mara Leverett's book of the same name, Devil's Knot. I watched that movie. Like I said, I've read the book, especially a fictionalized movie version of the book. And you've got numerous books that have been written. So yeah, but I've yet to come across, except for other creators who dissect this, who look at it from all sides as far as them being guilty, the case for the three being guilty and the three or them being innocent, that looks at all sides of everything. But in most of the documentaries, and I'm not saying that they're not good documentaries, but they're a warning for anybody who hasn't seen them. If you watch them, just know going into it that all the documentaries are heavily slanted towards them being innocent. Okay, well, just when I think I'm getting caught up, new batch pops up. Right, I think I'm well. When I think I get caught up, my computer must be slow. Then something else. Yeah, Lisa says we're like herding cats. You'll never get caught up. Yeah. So I'm caught up for now. So I will. Let me stop sharing this. Go through my slideshow really quickly. Oh, what did I do with my slide? Oh, there it is. Lost my slideshow. Okay, so this is going to be, I guess, my episode 1 or video 1 of my proposed series of videos about this. Just called the crimes. I'm hoping. Oh, Oh, dadgummit. Hold on. I thought I remembered to bring up my 1 minute. I know I emailed myself my slideshow to my computer so I could read the slides from a bigger screen. Just gotta find them. I thought I already had them up. There they are. Hopefully, maybe. All right, there they are. Sure, I still have them up. Why does it keep? Hold on. Operator error. Oh, now it's gonna. Oh goodness, what did I do? Now I pushed something. I don't know what I pushed. Oh, what? Oh my goodness. It's fixing to turn into a dumpster fire. Hold on, guys. Somehow I have got my I don't even want that, so I'll close it out. Close that out. Oh, oh, there it is. Okay. Tapped on the wrong thing. I'll get it together in a minute, maybe. Talk amongst yourselves. Smoke them if you got them. Okay. Oh, now I have 3 different. Okay. Good Lord. Now I got 3 things up here. All right. Sure, I still make sure I didn't shut out my. Okay. There we go. Yeah, string says don't hit the off button. Yeah, I almost did. Or well. Okay. So I might can read them off my computer. If I can, I can refer to my bigger version. Fly or something around flying buzzing me. So this happened starting on May 5th of 1993 in West Memphis, Arkansas. 3 8-year-old boys set off on their bike ride around their hometown of West Memphis. They disappeared around 6 o'clock or so the evening of May 5th. The next afternoon, they're bruised, and I probably should put up my trigger warning banner. Not going to try not to get too graphic, but it is disturbing nonetheless. So the next afternoon, the boys' bodies were found hogtied. They were nude. They've been hogtied. Their left wrist and ankles have been tied behind their back. The same with the right hand, and right wrist and right ankles have been tied behind their back. What they call a hogtied style. They were pulled from the stream, setting off an all-out effort to find the offenders within a month. I don't think it took that long. In my opinion, investigators were convinced that they had found the offenders, 3 out of the mainstream teenagers who would become known as the West Memphis Three. The convictions and court battles that follow provide a cautionary tale for police and prosecutors too sure of their instincts and too quick to rely on the questionable evidence that supports them. And that I can't goes kind of like I said, everybody has their opinion about who's guilty, not guilty, what happened, but that was it didn't come from westmemphis3.org. It came from, and I listed all the sources that I used in the description box. This might have come from famoustrials.com. I think is one of the sources I used. I tried to find 2 or 3 different sites that had most of the information all together. So this here is Christopher Byers, Michael Moore, and Stevie Branch. So the 3 8-year-olds whose lives were taken on or around May 5th, maybe early morning hours of May 6th. They were reported missing on the night of the 5th. So just a little, if anybody who doesn't know where West Memphis, Arkansas is, or you can see the green star there, it's just right across the river from Memphis, Tennessee. It's West Memphis, Arkansas. It is the largest city in Crittenden County. In Arkansas, population was around 26,000 in 2010, and I was going to look and see what the population of West Memphis was in 1993, but I forgot to look it up. It is considered a part of the metropolitan Memphis area, and located, as you can see, directly across the Mississippi River from Memphis. You go across. I've been across. I hate bridges, and I hate what we call the Memphis Bridge. Go across the bridge there on 40, because we always go by 40 because of where we live. You go over the bridge there, and then you get right off. And we usually, when we go to Memphis, it's either for a concert, or we used to go back in the 90s. Actually, we went over there a lot to the Pyramid before it became the Bass Pro Shop, to the Pyramid, to a lot of concerts and to a lot of professional wrestling events. And then we'd go down to Beale Street every once in a while, but we haven't been there in years. But anyway, so I'm very familiar with Memphis, West Memphis area. Not so much West Memphis, though we've been by it, through it, or however. But so on May 5th, around 6 p.m., and this is once again 1993, Christopher Byers, Michael Moore, and Stevie Branch are seen riding their bicycles in their neighborhood around North 14th Street, heading in the direction of Goodwin Street. And I just got a couple of slides that just has some kind of, where is I've lost it again, y'all. I just need it, I think, for these 1 or 2 slides with this information. Let me get down to the right slide. Just some sightings, basic. I'm not going to go through in detail this whole, but just a few sightings, because accounts vary a little bit on who saw how many boys at what time and where they were seen at, but it's all basically leading up to the same thing. Around 3 p.m., Michael Moore, he arrived at Stevie's house on his bike. He wanted to know if Stevie could go ride bikes with him. So around 3:15, Stevie and Michael leave Michael's house. No, leave Stevie's house, because Pam Hobbs agreed to let Stevie go ride bikes with Michael. Stevie was supposed to be back around 4:30 because she had to be to work, I believe, at around 5 o'clock at her shift at one of the local restaurants. So she told Stevie to be back by 4:30. The boys leave. They go west on South Macaulay, and then turn north on 14th Street. Around 4:15, a witness named Gregory reports seeing Stevie and Michael with, he said, a bunch of other boys. He says that they told him that they were just going riding. Gregory described seeing 3 boys on 2 bicycles, but this is unconfirmed as to whether the 3rd boy on the bicycle that he saw was Christopher. At around 5:15, David Jacoby, who is the friend of Terry Hobbs, at around 5:15, David Jacoby states that he sees Stevie and 2 boys pass by outside of his home. I'm assuming he was looking out the window maybe and saw them riding down the street, riding their bicycles. Also around 5:30, some other witnesses, Jeff and Betty Lou, see 4 boys. They say they see 4 boys on 3 bicycles, and one walking. 3 are on 2 bikes, and one of them is walking. They did identify 3 of the boys as Christopher, Michael, and Stevie. Unknown who the possible 4th boy is. That's always been a question too, is who the this 4th boy was that supposedly some of the witnesses saw. So around 5:45, another group of witnesses, the Baileys, report seeing Stevie and Michael on West East Cat Street, wearing a. One of them was wearing a green. Oh no, both of them were wearing green backpacks, riding bikes. Michael told Mr. Bailey apparently that he was in a hurry. He needed to leave. The boys are going toward another street, Mayfair Street. Also around 5:45 to 6 o'clock, another witness, Kim, is seen in the same location as Stevie and Michael. And I think this is maybe a schoolmate of theirs or around the same age as the boys, because she is seen out talking to them until she is called inside by her father. She claims that she last saw the boys heading into Robin Hood Woods by the way of the Goodwin entrance. And I was going to get, because when it says the Goodwin entrance, I believe it is the picture. Anybody who's familiar with this case has seen it's the road that dead ends, and you see like the metal barrier there. I believe that's what the Goodwin entrance is when they refer to the Goodwin entrance. At around 6 o'clock, another witness named Ben confirms that Kim was with Stevie and Michael until being called in to come inside by her father. At around 6 a.m. or 6 p.m., excuse me, also a witness named Deborah says that she sees the boys meet up in her yard, and they eventually go into the woods via the Goodwin entrance. Also around 6 p.m., another witness named Jason, reports seeing 2 boys on bikes. Go to the next slide. Also around 6 p.m., Dana Moore, which is Michael Moore's mother, says that she saw the 3 boys on 2 bikes on North 14th Street. Around 6 or 6:30. Now this is where it kind of gets conflicting, or not really conflicting, but a little unclear. Around 6 or 6:30, Christopher, Michael, and Stevie are seen playing in the Clark's backyard, which is a few houses down from the Hobbs residence where Stevie Branch lives. A witness named Jamie stated that she heard Terry Hobbs call Stevie to come back to the house. Apparently, he didn't go back to the house. Also, around 6 or 6:30, all 3 boys are seen by another witness named Cindy. She said that she saw them by the drainage ditch, down past the Blue Beacon, down by the bridge. I do, in my coming up slides, have what they call this drainage ditch. It was the bridge that they're referring to, if it's the same one, is actually 2 pipes, big round pipes that are put together that go across just a big canal drainage ditch. They ultimately end up finding, I think, 2 of the bicycles in the water there, right close to that bridge, the pipe bridge is what I call it. At 6:45, it says there's a questionable sighting. A witness named Brian says that he saw 4 boys playing on Goodwin Street. It is not confirmed to be if they were Stevie, Michael, and Christopher. And the last credible confirmed sighting they had was around 7 p.m. A witness named Chris says that he saw Christopher and Stevie riding bikes. He refers to one of the boys as a blonde, which Stevie is the only one that had blonde hair. He says he knows it was 7 p.m. because he got out of a night school at that time, and he saw the boys after class had let out. The boys were going once again, towards the Robin Hood Woods. He reported that it was beginning to get dark. He was polygraphed about any possible involvement. He did not indicate deception to any questions. Excuse me. To questions asking if he was involved. So he was given a polygraph. He passed. He was not involved. All right. Sorry. All right. Let's see what I have next. Let me go back over here. I think I can. No way I can control my slides in the So around 8 p.m., John Mark Byers, who is Christopher Byers' stepfather, calls the West Memphis Police Department to report a missing child, who is his 8-year-old stepson, Christopher. 10 minutes later, an officer shows up to interview John Mark Byers. Byers reported later that he began searching a wooded area where his stepson, Christopher, used to hang out or sometimes played, which was Robin Hood Hills, Robin Hood Woods. So around 9 p.m., two mothers, Dana Moore, Dana is on the left. She is Michael Moore's mother. And Pamela Hobbs is on the right. She is Stevie Branch's mother. They call to report that Michael and Stevie are missing. The one person, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, just food for thought. The one person that does not call police, and I had thought that at some point that I had read this or heard this somewhere that Terry Hobbs, even though he wasn't home, he was the last, as they say, the last adult known to be in charge of Stevie and maybe the other ones. Last person to see them, last parental figure to see them before they went missing was Terry Hobbs. And I did find, and I'm going to read this article tomorrow night. But this is a quote from that article from Pam Hobbs, Stevie's mother. She says, quote, Terry told me, as far as the reasoning for him not calling the police to report Stevie missing, she said, quote, Terry told me he really thought he was going to find him and he didn't want to burden me at work. And she says, but I held anger toward Terry over that he didn't tell me Stevie was missing. So she didn't, and I'm not saying, you know, he could have very well believed, like he said, that he thought he was going to find Stevie, that he had just, you know, been rebellious and the three boys were out running around and didn't come home when they were supposed to, and they would eventually come home or they would find them. And that could very well be true, but I would think because last time there was a sighting of them was between 7 o'clock was the latest sighting of them. So 2 hours go by. He didn't even, I mean, I think I would have at least, if he didn't want to, of course, any mother's going to be worried. I think I would have at least called she worked at a restaurant, would have called and say, hey, Stevie hasn't come home yet. I'm out looking for him. This is what's going on. Apparently he didn't do that. So Pam did not know until I believe at 9 o'clock. She got off her shift at the restaurant she was working at. Terry Hobbs and their daughter they have together, which I believe her name is Amanda. They came to pick her up. She noticed Stevie wasn't with them. He usually came with them too to pick her up from work. She asked, of course, where's Stevie? And then that's when he says, oh, we haven't seen him since, I haven't seen him since 6 o'clock, basically. So you can see where it would be a little, I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying, but I'm just saying, could be something, it could be nothing. But he did not call the police or call to tell Stevie's mother that he was missing until at least 2 to 3 hours after the last time that the boys had been seen. So I'm adding this in just to look at all sides. As we like to do here, I'm always open, honest, and transparent on my channel about looking at all sides of every case. So around 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and maybe you can, I think I can take the banner down for a minute. Just for anybody, just continued trigger warning for anybody that may be coming in. I'll just take it down for a minute so you can see the slide. But around 9:30, 10 o'clock, a lady named Arlene Hollingsworth, and it wasn't just her from what I read. Basically the whole family was in there. It was Miss Hollingsworth, Mr. Hollingsworth, and maybe 2 or 3 of their teenage to adult age children were in a car. And I'll point out some landmarks there on the in a minute. They're on the left-hand side of the slide. But Narlene the Hollingsworth family will say, according to what Miss Hollingsworth later tells police, says that she and the rest of the family see who they know or think to be Damien Echols and another boy. They did not recognize the other boy, according to their statement to the police. Both wearing muddy pants, according to them, walking near the Blue Beacon truck wash, which is, if anybody, everybody who's heard of this case knows the Blue Beacon truck wash. She claims that she sees Damien, who she said the family did know Damien from the neighborhood. They were aware of who he was, what he looked like. So, you would assume that they would know what they were talking about if they were to see him walking anywhere. They said they saw Damien and another boy who they did not know, both with muddy pants, walking near the Blue Beacon truck wash on the edge of Robin Hood Hills. So I bring this up because prosecutors during the trial argued that that was the time they pinned down, in their opinion, that was the time when the killings of the boys took place. It was between 9:30 and 10 p.m. during that time frame. So on the slide you see there, at the bottom, you have the interstate to the, I wish I had my pointer. I know my pointer won't go over it. My mouse, to the, in the picture, I don't know if that's true north, but if you look up from the interstate, you see, you always usually have a service road, what we call them here, a service road. That is the road that the Hollingsworth are driving down, was that service road that you see there on the right. That sort of oval of concrete you see there, kind of to the front left-hand side of it with the blue front. That is the Blue Beacon truck wash. To the left, you see that patch of that little square of woods. That is Robin Hood Woods. If you can see there are 3 X's there. That's the general area in Robin Hood Woods where the boys' bodies are eventually found. And from what I can gather from this statement in this picture, probably just along that service road, or maybe in that grassy area by the service road, is where the Hollingsworth family said that they saw who they believe to be Damien Echols and another boy walking around 9:30, 10 o'clock on May 5th. So then we come to Dr. Frank Peretti, who is the ME who did do the autopsies on the 3 boys. It was his opinion that the boys most likely were killed somewhere between 1 and 5 a.m. on May 6th. So that is the, like I said, I'm trying to give all sides, all opinions of the experts that testified in the trials about because we have a prosecution saying that they put the time of TOD for the boys around 9:30 or 10 o'clock that night, which was about the same time that the Hollingsworth family saw who they believed to be Damien Echols and another boy walking down the road with muddy pants on, close to the area where the boys are found. The ME says that in his opinion, the boys passed away between 1 and 5 a.m. on the morning of May 6th. So I just want to give all expert opinions, testimony that was given. So now we come Gary Gitchell, who I mentioned earlier. On May 6th, around 6 a.m., Gary Gitchell, who then was the chief inspector of the West Memphis Police Department, he makes the announcement that the official announcement that the 3 boys are missing, and that he will be directing the search efforts. So by 8 a.m., the official search begins, what they call the more thorough police search for the children. It begins around 8 a.m. on May 6th. It is led by the Crittenden County Search and Rescue personnel. Searchers canvassed all of West Memphis, but they focused on Robin Hood Hills, because by all witness accounts, that is where the boys were last seen heading towards, was Robin Hood Hills. They did a shoulder to shoulder search of Robin Hood Hills. They did the human chain, and I don't know why that's cut off. But they did not find anything in that initial beginning of the search. So around 1:45 p.m. on May 6th, juvenile parole officer Steve Jones, who in later episodes, his name will come up maybe tomorrow night. Juvenile parole officer Steve Jones spotted a boy's black shoe floating in a muddy creek that led to a major drainage canal in Robin Hood Hills. So if you see on the slide there, depending on what device you're watching on, how big it is, on the kind of bottom middle to right hand side, you see that is what the drainage canal is. It's running from southwest, roughly from the picture, if you're looking at it straight on, southwest to northeast, and then you can see the two pipes going across a bridge. That is what they call the bridge. I call it the pipe bridge. It goes across. If you look at the very right hand side of the picture, closer to the top, you see that dark area where it looks like there's a split, a dark area going in the trees. That is where the creek is. And I believe either the creek, I've never been clear on if the creek feeds the canal or the canal feeds the creek, but either way, the creek area where they're found in is much smaller, or a little bit smaller than the drainage canal. If you see at the top right there, that is where the boys' bodies are found, in that creek area. So they find the shoe, the black shoe floating. It leads a subsequent search of the ditch revealed the bodies of the boys. And I probably should put my come on. What did I do? Hold on. Might have almost put us in the dumpster fire. There we go. Okay. So, subsequent search of the ditch revealed the body of Stevie, Michael, and Christopher. As we discussed before, they were found nude. They were hogtied with their own shoelaces. Like I said, their right hands were bound to their right wrist, the left wrist bound to their left ankles behind their back. And that is how they were found. Eventually, most of their clothing was found in the creek. Some of it had been twisted around sticks, and the sticks had been put down in the mud. Presumably, you would think to hide the clothing, it was under the water. The clothing was mostly turned inside out, and two pairs. And I was looking for this again today. I don't know if it's ever been released. But two pair of the boys' underwear were never recovered. Now, I don't know if they could tell whose were what. It could just be that they washed down the creek, or they were just never found. Or does it mean that whoever the offender was took it with them? In my opinion, I think it was just somewhere in the creek and was never found. But, like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know for sure, but So police initially suspected that the boys had been SA'd. However, so you have differing opinions on this too. This is another point of contention during the trials. Later, expert testimony disputed that the boys had been SA'd. Trace amounts of sperm DNA were found on a pair of pants recovered from the scene. Prosecution experts claimed that Christopher Byers' wounds were the result of a knife, an edged weapon attack, and that he had been purposely castrated. Now, the defense said that, and this is a point of contention depending on what side of the fence you're on. Like I said, the prosecution said it was done with an edged weapon. The defense said that the mutilation was due to post-mortem animal predation. So, just like I said, whatever side of the fence you come down on, that's fine. Lost my place. Police believe that the boys were. Sorry, I'm trying to read the small writing. Police believe that the boys were assaulted and their lives were taken at the location where they were found, which is in the creek. So they assume that the assault and the homicides took place on the creek bank. But critics argued that the assault, at least the assault, was unlikely to have occurred at the creek. So that is another point of contention. In my opinion, another thing about this case that we'll probably never know the truth about, because in my opinion, the handling or the mishandling of the crime scene, they probably lost a lot of potential evidence. They claim that no blood was ever found at the scene, but then again, I've just read, and I don't know if it's true because I can't remember now where I read it or heard it, that at some point the grass was luminol or whatever, and they did it did show up that there had been a large amount of blood in a certain area by the creek bed. Now I don't know if that is true. Like I said, I can't remember of everything, all the hundreds of articles I've read and everything I've watched. I just remember it stuck in my mind at some point. I'd read that somewhere or heard it. Like I said, I can't confirm 100% if that's true or not, but it's one of the arguments that's made. So Christopher Byers was the only victim with any kind of substance in his system, but it was a Ritalin that he was prescribed for his ADHD. The initial autopsy report describes a certain brand, and it said that the dosage was at a subtherapeutic level. His father, John Mark, or his stepfather, John Mark Byers, said that that Christopher may not have remembered to take his medicine that day. So that might have been the reasoning behind having low levels, subtherapeutic levels of this prescription in his system. And I think that is the basic. Take down my banner now and get back to comments, because I know I'm probably way behind. So as you can see there, that is the heart and soul. That's what I didn't come up with I forgot I snagged this from Google, but I thought it was appropriate, the forgotten West Memphis Three, because Stevie, Christopher, and Michael there seem to get lost sometimes in the sensationalism discussions of the West Memphis Three, which is what commonly when you hear people say the West Memphis Three, they're referring to Echols, Miss Kelly, and Baldwin. But we can never forget Stevie, Christopher, and Michael. It all boils down to finding out the truth for them, to get justice for them, for their remaining family members. It always comes back to the victims and the victims' families. So we will see. Get back down to where I was in comments, and we'll turn my cam off for just a minute. You should still be able to hear me though, hopefully. Trying to get down to, I think I'm back down to where we were in comments. Yes. Oh, that's another thing I was going to look up. Yes, Damien has written many books. Let me see if I can remember where I found that information at. I think it was on Wikipedia, actually. Give me 1 minute. Come on. I just close it out, open a new tab. That'll be easier. And bring up all the hear me tapping on my taking away on my computer. Try to bring up the documentaries and the books and everything. I think it was on Wikipedia that it mentioned most of them. Let me get down to it, so you don't have to watch a bunch of scrolling when I try to share the screen. Oh, we're just not even barely 2 hours in. We're doing good. Maybe go another 30 minutes. At least I'm gonna get it to everybody's comments. But I did want to. I'm glad you mentioned the books. I'm still scrolling. There it is. Okay, let me take that down and see if my screen will share. And share. Make sure it comes up on the screen. Uh-oh. Why is it not? Oh, there it is. Okay. So this is from Wikipedia. Start with, I mentioned earlier, the 3 films. Paradise Lost, The Child, Red Rooms at Robin Hood Hills. Then you have Paradise Lost 2, Revelations, and 3 was Purgatory. I said I watched all 3 of them numerous times. Directed by Joe Berlinger and Bruce Sinofsky. I said David Sinofsky earlier. Bruce Sinofsky. As I said before, it says the film is marked the first time Metallica allowed their music to be used in a movie, which says drew more attention to the case. Like I said, it's as most all the documentaries are slanted heavily towards the Echols, Miss Kelly, and Baldwin being innocent. There have been a number of books. Of course, we got Devil's Knot by Maura Leverett, Blood of Innocence by Guy Reel, The Last Pinnacle of the Sun, Writings in Support of the West Memphis Three, edited by Brett Alexander. I haven't read any of those. I read Devil's Knot. Apparently those feature dark fiction and nonfiction. Damien Echols completed his memoir, Almost Home, Volume 1, offering his perspective of the case. And I know he's written other books. Don't think they mention them here. There was also a biography of John Mark Byers by Greg Day named Untying the Knot, John Mark Byers and the West Memphis Three. It came out in 2012. Apparently there were songs written about them. We won't go over those. It was featured on True Crime with Aphrodite Jones, following the DNA discoveries, which is in 2011. It was featured on Wrongfully Convicted. They did an episode of 48 Hours, of course. I love 48 Hours, by the way. Damien and his wife, Lori, and was it Jason Baldwin says they were on Pierce Morgan. West of Memphis, that was the other documentary we were talking about, directed and written by Amy Berg, produced by Peter Jackson of Lord of the Rings fame, as well as Damien Echols. It premiered at the 2012 Sundance Film Festival. Of course, Johnny Depp was there. He's a big supporter of the West Memphis Three, a personal friend of Damien. And then Adam McGoyan was directed the fictionalized version, the movie version of Devil's Knot, based on Maura Leverett's book. It was released in 2014, and it starred Reese Witherspoon and Colin Firth. So that is most of the media that was like I said, like Serena said, Damien has written numerous books, more than one book about his life. Almost out of tea, y'all. Okay. Let me get back to your comments and get caught up in comments here before we get out of here. Just going through comments. Yep, that's what gets me in trouble. I have to. Arctic said, mashing buttons. Yeah, mashing buttons is usually what gets me in trouble. That's what usually causes the dumpster fires or the going into the upside down or putting myself in timeout or somebody else in a timeout. Yes, we do. We do need a. Lisa Joe said we need a dumpster fire emoji. I know we're gonna have to come up with something. I'm not. If somebody who is now I can do slideshows and I can do a little bit with graphics, but yeah, but I don't know how we would incorporate it. I guess I can make a slide. We need something to do with a dumpster fire emoji or something I can throw up on the screen, just in case. Uh, da, 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 da. I tend to agree with Lisa Joe says I hate how awful people can be. I much prefer dogs to humans. Yeah, sometimes I prefer animals to humans. I like all kinds of critters. Yep, Serena said dogs are too good for some humans. Absolutely. Thank you, Michelle C. We were talking about earlier. I said I wish I'd looked up the population of West Memphis in '93. Apparently, is around the same 27,000 thereabouts. I think the slide. If I can get back to the right slide, it's one of the first slides. I think it was around 27,000. Well, yeah, 26,245. So it's grown a little bit, but not a whole lot. So thank you, Michelle, for that. I appreciate you. Trying to get back to the boys, because that's what I want to end on when we end is the boys. Oh, I don't know if she's still here. Serena had to go. So she's got to hop off. Sad to go, but I joined the discard party. Great to meet you all. It was great to meet you too, Serena. She's probably long gone by now. I don't know how late I'm in. 9:30, about 30 minutes behind in comments. It was great having a Serena here. Always good to have a new friend in. Julian apparently didn't know where they were. I don't know. I don't know if that's if we had needed to play Whack-A-Troll on Julian or not. But I had two good mods in here, so hopefully everything was kept in order. Was at 9:30. I don't know if Julian's still here, but hello. I'm not too sure about Julian. I'm not going to make any decisions till I get down and caught up in comments, though. Okay. Is that the same as? Did I misread it? Julian or Jillian? Maybe different. I apologize if it, but that said Julian. Don't know if it's the same person you're referring to, Lisa Joe. She referred to it. But Julian, whoever it is, does make a good point. It said Dungeons and Dragons were also considered evil. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people when the Dungeons and Dragons, and I'm assuming, I don't know if it, I guess it's still popular. I don't know. I know it was back in the 80s and 90s, but yeah, I had family members that played Dungeons and Dragons, and They didn't, just because you played Dungeons and Dragons doesn't make you, a bad person. Uh-oh. Michelle said if she stopped responding, it's because she fell asleep. That's all right, Michelle. I understand. Trying to get caught up in comments. I miss Mr. Steve was here. I don't know if he's still here, but if Mr. Steve is still here, hi, Mr. Steve. He said, yeah, he says, I find this case fascinating. Yes. Every time I would love to, if I ever get a chance to, Mr. Steve was gracious enough one time before a few months ago to let me be on his, a guest on his show, one of his live streams to talk about the Morgan Nick case. And I would love at some point to be able to go back on and, excuse me, my voice is trying to go. To go back on Mr. Steve's show as a guest or have him on my show and pick his brain about West Memphis Three. I'm telling you. Yes. So if Mr. Steve is still here, he may be long gone. That was about 20 minutes ago. He may still be here. Welcome, Mr. Steve. Good to have you here. I hope you and Mrs. Steve and the family are doing well. I don't know when you said you were going to go out on the road again in a couple, 3 weeks, or maybe around the beginning of May. Maybe I think he said he might be going back out on the road to help some more families with their missing loved ones in the cold cases. Mr. Steve and his team do wonderful work, and I hope Mickey maybe or somebody, if Michelle, I don't know if Michelle's still there or she fell asleep, please go check out True Crime Web with Mr. Steve and Mrs. Steve and that whole team that goes out with Mr. Steve to help families free of charge, look for their loved ones, work on cold cases. It's all financed. They have a nonprofit organization. You can go to truecrimeweb.com, has all the links to the nonprofit organization. You can donate through there. And just by going and supporting his channel, that's how they're able to go out and help these families through the support of the community here. Because I believe me and Mr. Steve share at least some of the same community members, which we are thrilled to have. Dandy popped in. I don't know if she's still here. Hey, Dandy, if you're still here. That was about 20 minutes ago. Another one of my wonderful mods. Welcome, Dandy Linus. Yep. Tony brings up a good point. Tony says, I almost have to think that it was at least 2 offenders or perpetrators. Once the first boy started being assaulted, that someone had to be there to control the other 2. Otherwise, they would have ran away. Yes. And as we all know, you can control people with weapons. It's usually, from what I've tried to learn from the likes of professionals like Mr. Steve, you can control a number of people with most usually a firearm is the easiest thing that you can control more than 1 or 2 people with. If you had 2 people at the very least, probably an edged weapon, a knife could be used. As Mr. Steve said, or Mr. Steve and other professionals have said, especially with children or teenagers, you get one teenager, whether it be male or female, hold the edge weapon to their throat or whatever until the other child or teenager, hey, if you don't do what I say, your friend's gonna, something bad's gonna happen. Very easy to control at least 2 that way. With 3, also still possible in my opinion, but I'm on That's one thing I'm not on the fence about, is it had to, in my opinion, I would think there was is at least two offenders, two or more, um, to control three boys, even though they're three 8-year-old boys. But like Tony says, if you're doing something to one, even just tying them up, you got two more that you got to keep your eye on. And 8-year-olds they can be fast. They can be fast when they want to. And I believe I read somewhere in official documents or heard from a lot of creators, professionals, other people who have done deep, deep, deep dives and dissections of this case, and I'm trying to remember who I heard say this. Anyway, they said that at least, according to documents, that at least two different types of knots were used. And they said that means there were at least, in their opinion, at least two offenders, because there were two different types of knots used. Because whoever it was, like I said, I can't remember exactly who it was, said that nobody ties a knot the same way. So any professional, like a CSI person, or especially trained somebody like Mr. Steve, because Mr. Steve was trained law enforcement, he was CSI. Anybody trained to look for those kinds of things can tell very easily, I'm assuming, be able to tell two different knots. So I agree with you, Tony. It's very long-winded. Once again, one of my long-winded explanations or answers, comment to a comment. But yes, I'm of the feeling that there were at least two offenders, two or more. So that would still include the three that were convicted, or two others that have been named, the Stepfather Hobbs and possibly David Jacoby. That would be two different, two offenders, two possible offenders, potentially alleged. Or it could be, two completely different people that we don't know about. But I agree with you, Tony, that in my opinion, there had to be more than one, at least two offenders. Okay, good. Lisa Joe said she invited Julian. That's why he said where I am. Okay. All right. I was just making sure that it wasn't us. I don't have so far I've been lucky. I haven't had trouble with trolls, but I was just making sure. So welcome to Julian, if Julian is still here. Let's see. I'm just about 10 minutes behind in comments now. I'm getting caught up. Oh, Lisa Joe says she had a typo, Julian. I have typos all the time, Miss Lisa. I can understand. Tony said Tom Hanks did a movie about D&D. Which movie was that? I don't remember. I've watched most of Tom Hanks movies. Oh yeah, I forgot about let's see, at least about 10 minutes ago, Dandy says she was still here. She is making plans with a good friend for tomorrow is 420. Yeah, my mom of all persons reminded me of that earlier. And I don't know if she's even partaken in the Mary Jane, maybe once. I've only back 30 years ago. I may have taken a little puff give a couple of times, but it didn't do a whole lot for me. Sorry if you hear me slurping on my drink there. But yes, tomorrow is 420 for anybody who does partake. So enjoy yourselves. Yep, exactly. Tony said, but at some point, if it was a single offender, they would have to turn their back on the other two to tie the first one. Yeah, I agree with you, Tony. In my opinion, there were at least two. Oh, I guess Mr. Steve is still here. Thank you, Mr. Steve. Said I will be honored to be on your show or have you as a guest. We'll know more in a couple of weeks when we can schedule. Absolutely, sir. Just let me know. I'm flexible. I work around your schedule because you do much more important work than I do. You get out boots on the ground with your team and help these families out, and we other creators in the community support you and your team and everything that you do, sir. Yes, that's another thing I'd also thought about too. Mr. Steve said taking shoes and clothing off can restrict, if I can talk, can restrict flight in outdoor environments. Yes. Um, so sorry, I'm trying to get my, hold on, I'm multitasking for a second. I was gonna turn my cam back on. All right. Yes. As Mr. C said, taking shoes and clothing off can restrict flight in an outdoor environments. Yes. To cause humiliation. That's not the word I'm looking for. Yes, to control somebody, especially children or younger persons, children, teenagers. Um, to make them more vulnerable, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Make them more vulnerable, or to humiliate them, or both. Because that is another point of what I call a point of contention in this case. Is some people say that their clothes are taken off for SA/ritualistic, if you want to go with the satanic ritual angle, which is what the prosecution did, which is kind of, I find it ironic. Just briefly, we're not going to go into that case, but the Delphi, Abby and Libby, the opposite is happening in that case. In my opinion, the defense is going for this oldness ritualistic angle. But in West Memphis Three, you had the prosecution going with the ritualistic SA angle as the motive. But yes, my point being, before I got sidetracked, is that the one side says the clothes are taken off for the ritualistic SA angle, and then you have other professionals, profilers, and experts that say the clothes are taken off, like Mr. Steve said, possibly for controlling purposes, for humiliation purposes, and that would indicate, if I remember correctly, that would indicate that it was somebody close to the victims, somebody they knew, possibly a family member or somebody that they knew, somebody close. So this just depends on how you look at it, how you interpret it. But I tend to agree with Mr. Steve. I think I know some of his ideas that he has in this case, just from things that he said. Hey, Lisa Joe, I'll have to look at that. Lisa Joe said, Julian, welcome, Julian. Now, I know you're not a troll. Welcome, I apologize. Is Judy Brown's cousin and the point person for her case. So I'll have to look into Judy Brown. Let me get my, I don't want to use a Sharpie, but it's probably the only thing I can reach right now. Oh, there's a pen if it'll work. I don't know. So I'm going to write Judy Brown down, because anytime I was going to try to write with my stylus. Okay. Okay, right. Judy Brown. Okay. Just for future reference, so I can look. I always like to, whenever I have family members of victims, I like to write down the name so I can look into it to possibly share their story if the family member would like me to do so. All right, it's getting caught up in comments. Lisa Joe said that it is a very interesting case. All right. Yes. Thank you, Lisa. I'm definitely going to look into it. Mine, Sunshine said, talking to Mr. Steve, but I'm assuming talking about the case with Miss Catherine's case. I'm not going to, as you say, I'm not going to try to say her whole name. I don't have it in front of me and butcher it. The lady that was carjacked in Florida and then found deceased in the burning vehicle. That, yeah, and then the police officer, whatever. I got to get caught up on that. I got to get back over to your channel and get caught up on that whole crazy case. Lisa Joe said, the devil's lettuce. I'm assuming you're referring to 420 tomorrow. Lisa Joe said, I just get paranoid. It just made me sleepy. I slept really good that one or two nights. That one of the two times that I partook. You know, just like I said, if anybody's ever watched the movie Friday, I love that movie. You know, the puff puff give. You know, caught up in comments. I got to save some voice for tomorrow night when we're getting to another discussion. Continue our discussion, looking at the evidence, because I found some interesting in the petition. It has some interesting information about what the evidence was. The the point of contention of the evidence that it's taking them forever to finally made it up to the Arkansas Supreme Court, has ruled that it can be tested. Now, getting it tested is going to be the next thing. I'm sure there'll be fights in court about that, but slow progress as long as it's, sorry, my hair's, the humidity's getting it, but yeah, I just completely lost my train of thought. Anyway, what was I going to say? I don't even remember what I was going to say. I'm getting loopy, y'all. We've only been here 2 hours and 20 minutes. That's not bad. We're getting ready to wrap it up. I think I'm about to get to the caught up in comments. There's Miss Barbara Hall. Hey, Miss Barbara. Good to have you here. It's okay. You're not late. You can always watch whatever if you want to. If you're interested in this case or just want to chat, watch a replay. And then, like I said, tomorrow night I'll be back on here probably around the same time, and we'll talk about the evidence. The interesting thing about the evidence. That's what I was talking about before I got sidetracked. About where the hairs were found, because I was led, or I'd always thought when I first started about the hairs that were found, that they were only found tied up in the ligature, which one of them was, and then another hair was found in a different place. And there was also mention of a substance or some kind of DNA found from a swab that was taken from one of the boys. And apparently when they tested it with the new technology they had, which was better than what they had in 1993, which I'm assuming, if Mr. Steve is still here, could tell you it wasn't much. You could basically tell maybe what blood type, if it was blood, and kind of match hairs, because I said that the two hairs found were not inconsistent with two people that were not Damien Echols, Jesse Miss Kelly, or Jason Baldwin. They have found no physical DNA evidence ever that I know of, or at least it has been partially tested. Because when they tested the hairs, I'm assuming they're talking about the hairs and whatever DNA they found from the swab back in 2007, it did not match at all in any way to Damien, Jesse, or Jason. They just said it belonged to a male or possibly two males, at least with the hair, where the hair is concerned. So hopefully, but anyway, welcome, Miss Barbara. It's always a pleasure to have Miss Barbara here, and an honor. Always give much love and respect in the chat to Miss Barbara. For anybody who wasn't here earlier, Miss Barbara Hall is Timmy D's mother. Please check my playlist, the Fredericktown, Missouri case playlist. I've done a live stream, I believe it was, on Timmy's case. And also, sometimes Miss Kimberly Lotz pops in chat. She is Durante Martin's grandmother. Durante Martin, another one of those Fredericktown cases that I will be eventually doing some more Fredericktown cases as my case of the weeks. So please do go to that playlist and check those Timmy's case and Durante's case. Please share them, both of them, anywhere and everywhere you can. Both of them have Facebook groups, Justice for Timmy D's and Justice for Durante. I do have links. I believe I have links to both of them in, for sure, I believe Durante's. And all the videos I've done that, of any case regarding Fredericktown, the links to those 2 Facebook groups should be in the description section of any of the videos in that playlist. So please go to Facebook, or you can just go to Facebook and search. If you do Facebook, please check those groups out and share Timmy's story, share Durante's story. My videos, other creators' videos that have done videos or live streams on Timmy's case and Durante's case, please do, or any of the other Fredericktown cases, please look them up, share them out, watch them to get word out about those cases. Ooh, another batch of comments just popped up. It jumps on me. My computer's slow. All right. Oh, there's Miss Peggy. Yeah, Miss Peggy. She snuck in on me. Miss Peggy. Always a pleasure to have Miss Peggy here. Good to have you here. No, Dandy says, did y'all hear about the 9 or 10-year-old that admitted to unaliving his grandpa's neighbor at he was 7 years old? I don't think I've heard about that one. Wow, it is scary how young these offender. I mean, it's so weird to call a 7-year-old an offender, but it just breaks my heart. What was Danny? Do you know any of the names associated with it? You can drop them in chat, or you can drop them in my Discord, a link to an article or something, so I can look at that. I don't believe I've heard about that one. Horrible. Going through comments. Absolutely. Yes, I'm putting your anything you post, if you care to, if you want to be an advocate, a voice for the not just the missing, but for these cases that need justice. Hashtag justice for Timmy D's always, and hashtag justice for Durante Martin. Absolutely. Thank you, Miss Barbara. All right, I think I may be caught up in comments. Yep. Checking on my phone to make sure, because sometimes they're slow to come through on my phone. All right, if anybody has any last questions, last comments, goodbyes, whatever you want to put in chat, I'm gonna do a little bit of shameless plugging, and then I'll get to last comments, and we'll get out here for the night, so I can save some voice for tomorrow night, and we can continue this discussion a little bit looser. I gave you the basics tonight of the unfortunate crime, killing of the 3 boys, Stevie Branch, Michael Moore, and Christopher Byers. And or I did on the wrong. The first one on the left is Stevie, the middle is Christopher Byers, and on the very right is Michael Moore. It's all about the boys, justice for them. So let me do a little bit of shameless plugging. Please, if you're watching replay, please give this, if you found this video or live stream informative, interesting, please give it a thumbs up. If you're here in a chat, please give it a thumbs up before you leave. Share it, comment on it to help keep this story out here. Even big stories like this sometimes get forgotten. The victims get forgotten. We never want to forget, like I said, Stevie, Christopher, and Michael. They are the most important part of this case. If you haven't already, if this is your cup of tea, please consider subscribing. Always wonderful to have new subscribers, new watchers, new parts of members of our community, new friends. If you have any questions, comments, any case that you would like to for me to share for you, whether if it's a family member of yours or not, if it happened in your hometown, home state, or just one that something you think needs more attention, you can email me there at the address on the screen. You can find me on Facebook. I have a group and a page. I do upkeep post more in the group than I do the page, so please consider joining the group. Of course, it's free. It is a private group. All I have to do is go in and approve members and posts. So please consider that. If you would like to donate to help the channel, support the channel Awareness for the Missing, you can find all the links in the description box. Okay, I think that's all my shameless plugging. Get to last comments. Thank you, Lisa Joe says ciao. Ciao, my dear. I hope I see you tomorrow night. If not, that's okay. You can watch it on replay. The monster says check Discord. I will check Discord when I get off here tonight, or I'll check it tomorrow. Thank you, Sunshine, for being here as always. Thank you. I'm not gonna be able to go through everybody that was here back up through all 600 and something comments from the very beginning, but anybody who was here, thank you so much. Thank you everybody who's watching replay. Thank you for watching. I love my replay crew. Thank you to lurkers. Gnats or something flying around. As Sunshine always says too, we love our lurkers. Lurkers are welcome. So thank you, Sunshine. Please check out Mind of Monsters. Please check out True Crime Web. Please check out Arctic Fox True Crime. I'm trying to get all to other creators. I think that's all that was in here that at least made themselves known that they were here. Any other creators that happen to be lurking, welcome. Miss Barb, Miss Barb says thank you for all you do. Absolutely, ma'am. It's not just me; it's everybody, all creators, family members, and the community. But Miss Barb says thank you for all you do. My sister will be here. Miss Marion popped in earlier and said that she had grandbabies. So yes, enjoy those grandbabies. Good night. See you all tomorrow. Absolutely. Miss Barb, I would love to see you again tomorrow night. Says you all are amazing for the families. Absolutely. The whole community. Lisa Joe says, yes, another hashtag find Barb Cotton. Absolutely. Thank you, Lisa Joe, for being here. Yeah, thank you, Miss Barbara said that she will share. As always, thank you. Yep. Oh, wait a minute. Lisa Joe, you have a chat? I don't know if Lisa Joe's still here. Oh, yeah. Lisa Joe, I don't know if Lisa Joe's still here, but if you have a channel, yeah. We, just let us know what the name of the channel is. I don't know if you're still here, but if you're here tomorrow night, yes, if you have a channel, just let us know, and either me or one of the mods can pop the channel link in for you, my dear. We welcome all creators. Oh, she might be gone. She said good night. Thank you, Lisa Joe. Thank you, Miss Peggy, for being here. It's always good to have you here, Miss Peggy. Glad to have everybody here. Oh, Danny said she dances with awkwardness. Me too. Break out my 80s Breakfast Club dance moves. I'd fall and break a hip. Lisa said, I don't know if she meant best friends or who she's talking to. Said, did we just be best friends? We're all friends. I love my friends. Sunshine is going crazy tonight. One of us. One of us. All right. Sunshine has lost her mind, I think, along with me. I don't know what she's talking about. Oh, Lisa just says she doesn't. Okay, I'm confused. I'm sorry. I thought you said you create. Anyway. Oh. Hey, Miranda Lee. We started about 2.5 hours ago. But welcome. Welcome, my dear. You can watch replay if you want to. I'm just doing my it's always good to have Miranda Lee here. Another one of my regulars, semi-regulars. It's all right. I'll take whoever can be here at whatever time, or if you can't be here for the live, for the replay crew. Love my replay crew, but hello, Miranda. But wait, Miranda, we will be back tomorrow night to continue some more West Memphis 3 discussion. Some evidence and some stuff, whatever we decide to discuss about West Memphis 3, because there's a lot to discuss. It's okay, dear. You're not late. You're fine. You're fine. Like I said, you can watch replay if you want to get caught up. Lisa Jo said now she has to create a channel called Awkwardness. I'll be one of your first subscribers. I'm awkward in so many ways. You wouldn't probably think that since I get on camera and do stuff that I'm actually an introvert, but I guess I can deal more through a lens or looking at a screen than face to face with actual people. But yeah, you get me face to face with actual people or with a group of people and have to talk in front of a group of people in person. Nope. This Southern gal can't do that unless I absolutely have to. Anyway, we caught up. No, you're not sidetracking again. You're not sidetracking. You're fine. Miss Lisa Jo, I told her at some point I would love to pick her brain about she's a genealogist. I would love to, because you guys who know me, have been watching my channel, know that I'm all about this genealogy thing, genetic genealogy, any kind of genealogy, DNA, all that kind of good stuff. I told Miss Lisa Jo I wanted to pick her brain about the genealogy stuff. You don't make anything awkward, Miss Lisa Jo. You're fine. Thank you, Miss Miranda. Miranda said she watched replay. Thank you, my dear. Now I can blame it on Lisa Jo. Miss Lisa Jo said she's the dumpster fire starter. Now I have a scapegoat. Can I use you as a scapegoat? Yes, thank you. Dandy says don't forget to hit that thumbs up. Or what does Junior call it? Upvote. I haven't seen Junior. Of course, Junior Johnson, he's another one of my honorary mods. I think I call him and Dave out on the prowl are bouncers, honorary mods, in case we get any trouble here. But I think my ladies could be good bouncers. I think they're tough ladies, Dandy and Michelle and Mickey. They're tough ladies. All right, let's make sure I got everybody. Oh, hit the wrong one. Miranda, probably around 8 o'clock, probably 8 or 8:30. I'll get it scheduled. I think I've already made the thumbnail for tomorrow, so I'll get it scheduled on through. I have to go through StreamYard, but it'll show up on I almost said Facebook, on whatever we're on here on YouTube. It's time to go, guys. I'm getting loopy. Probably around 8 o'clock or so, 8:15. No later than 8:30 it'll start, but I'm hoping for about 8. I'm gonna schedule it to start at 8. It may be 8:10, 8:15, but don't worry. If I'm gonna be a little bit late, I'll try to get on in chat and let you guys know. Let's see. Trying to catch. Oh, now another batch popped up. Brenda says, I'll just say that I think the other West Memphis Three are guilty. Fair enough. Fair enough. Like I said, everybody's no matter what side of the fence you're on, you know, because we don't know for sure. I said at the beginning, I don't know if you were here, that I wasn't there. I don't know for sure. Sometimes when I start looking into this case, or new information comes up, or I get to reading and find some new information, it might make me lean one way, and then the next time I'll read something or find some information, or my mind will go thinking the other way, you know, concerning Echols, Miss Kelly, and Baldwin, whether or not I think they're innocent or guilty. I mean, it's just one of those cases that's why I want to know the truth. That's why hopefully if this evidence, this DNA they have is still viable, if there's enough of it left to test again. Well, I think they actually said, and I think was mentioned in the petition that I'm going to read. Not going to read all of it because it's like 18 pages, but just the interesting parts about the DNA. Damien or Echols was pushing, once I don't know if Mr. Steve is still here, but the MVAC, the vacuum testing done on something that they found. Sorry, my cat was scratching around. Good Lord, what are they doing? Anyway, they wanted to use the MVAC vacuum thing on whatever clothing or something that they have. So yeah, we won't know. I just want to know one way or another, whether it is the West Memphis Three, if they were the ones that did it, or if it's somebody else. If it happens to be somebody else, who is it? And you know, who is it? So maybe the testing, maybe it can at least, like I said, and I don't want to get into it again because we'll have that discussion again tomorrow night. I think I said it earlier, in my opinion, that the more of the original higher up officials, like the judges and maybe some of the prosecutors and higher up officials, I'll say, maybe not boots on the ground law enforcement, once they start either passing from this earth, or they get not involved in the judicial system anymore, in my opinion, I think some people that may know things or knew things back then and were afraid to say something, hopefully they're going to start speaking out. That's just a gut feeling I have, but hopefully I'm right about it. And maybe the intimidation factor is going down a little bit, because I think, in my opinion, there's a lot of intimidation going on regarding this case, and people not saying things, or being possibly pressured to either not say what they know, not say something, or say things that aren't true. But once again, that's just my opinion. Yes, Miranda Lee said genetic genealogy is really interesting. Absolutely. And Miss Lisa Joe was the expert. She would know. She says, just wait. Yep. I'm gonna have to get Miss Lisa Joe on here as a guest, and at some point, and pick her brain. Miranda says, I thought Junior Johnson was a woman. As far as I know, Junior is a male. Now, I thought, who is it? It was in here the other night that I thought was a him, and it was a her. I don't think they've been back. They might have. Oh, I can't remember who it was, but Terry somebody. I couldn't tell from the avatar, and I just assumed that Terry was a male, but Terry was a female. I could be wrong about Junior. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things. Oh, goodness. Oh, Sunshine, I thought you said you didn't know where I was. You said, I don't know. I thought you said, I'm not sure where Southern Gal True Crime is. Hell, I'm not sure where I'm at right now at this point. But you said when she is. So Sunshine, Mind the Monsters is going to be on. I don't know. She'll be fishing live in the morning. Never mind. I thought she was going to have a live. She'll be fishing tomorrow, apparently. Yep. That's how I feel right now, Miss Barb. Put the crazy face. That's Miss Lisa Joe said, I think y'all could find, that's what you said last time, could find a better genealogist, a less awkward one. But you're the only one that I've spoken to. So you're the only genealogist that I can say I know, at least through YouTube. Just like Carolyn, almost to Catherine. Carolyn from Unearthed Secrets, another great channel. Check out Unearthed Secrets. She also goes out with Mr. Steve. She's a geophysicist. So Carolyn is the only geophysicist I know. So you're the only genealogist that I know at this point. At least that I've talked to. Yep, see, I knew Dandy was tough. She says, I'm less than 5 foot, but I'll bounce your booty right on out. Absolutely. Hey, you're shorter than I am then, because I'm 5'3", 5'2.5". I don't find many people, many women, people that are shorter than I am. Yeah, I think I'm going to. Miss Lisa just said, you're never going to catch up. You're going to have to cut us off. Yeah, I got to say my voice is starting to go, and it's been, well, 1 to 3 hours. That's good for me. But at least I got that's why I try to go through my slideshow. So anybody who doesn't want to stick around for the question and comment, question and answer part of the show, they, at least they get the information about whatever case I'm talking about, and they can dip out if they want to and not watch the. But I love being able to catch up with you guys and chat with you guys. Yeah, Miranda says, right, because he knows the water ruins the DNA. That could be it. So, because that's another thing that, and I don't even, I need to say this for tomorrow night. Like I said, I have my ideas and theories. Like I said, I'm one of the few people probably who are on the fence, depending on, any given day or whatever I read or think about in my head about this case, about whether I think they're innocent, referring to the West Memphis Three, guilty or innocent. But just playing devil's advocate, and I'm not saying that, like I said, I think Damien or the three are innocent or guilty. But what reason? Because I thought about that, is what reason, if unless Damien knows either that either that they didn't do it, or B, he knows that if they did do it, if they're the offenders, they didn't leave any of their DNA behind. Why would he be pushing? Because it's mainly been Echols that's been pushing, at least publicly. Now we don't know behind the scenes what's said with Jesse Miss Kelly and Jason Baldwin. But Damien Echols, of course, being, wanting to be in the spotlight public that he wants to be in. Because I do think he's borderline, or maybe totally, definitely has narcissistic trait, ego thing going on. And that's just my opinion. But why would he be pushing if, he's got to know something, either that, like I said, either that they didn't do it, or that if they did it, they didn't, he thinks they didn't leave any DNA, their DNA, his DNA behind. And that's why he's pushing to get it tested. Because you would think that if it were, an innocent person, they wouldn't want this evidence tested. But like I said, that's kind of what makes me, I don't know, one of the things that makes me, on the fence about this case, depending on whatever side of the bed that I get up on. No, it didn't just boil down to that. I'm more serious about this case than that. But I don't know. It's just, I just want to know. I want to know. Like I said, either way, I just want to know the truth. Oh goodness, Dandy said she knows a Virginia that's a man. Names are deceiving. Yeah. Yep. Lisa Joe said she would be at the Retriever Club. Oh. Miranda says she got busy cleaning and doing laundry and wasn't on her phone. That's fine, my dear. Oh, Sunshine. says she'll probably go live and fish. Hey, that would be relaxing for me. I would watch you fishing. Is that what you're talking about? I would watch you go live fishing on the live stream. Nice. Miss Barbara said that I'm assuming she meant sat outside for a while for the first time. Excellent. Yeah, the weather today was not too bad here. I know Miss Barbara is in Missouri, up in Missouri somewhere. But I know that Missouri gets a lot of the same storm systems that we get. They may get, excuse me, more in the wintertime. They, of course, up in Missouri get more snow than we do, at least here in central Arkansas where I am. But yeah, here in central Arkansas, it's nice today. It was rainy yesterday. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. Um, but yeah, with my allergies though, it's so hard for me to spend any length of time because I live out in the country on the farm, so we have all the everything, pollen and whatever else. And my allergies are so bad, I can just think about going outside, and everything is how you hear it right now. Anyway, Mr. Joe says she's a microbiologist by day. All right, that intrigues me too. Okay. Oh, Miss Barbara says she's 5'2". Miss Barbara, we're about the same. I say 5'2.5", 5'3". I'm probably pushing it. I'm probably more 5'2". Oh, now Sunshine's talking about gators because I know Sunshine's in Florida. She says she has to decompress. Absolutely, been a long week, but I figure if there's a gator, y'all can at least enjoy watching me run. Yeah, you better run, girlie. I know you're a tough lady too, Sunshine, but don't be messing with them gators. I have all the respect in the world for them, as I do any critters, but I'm not going to get close to them. Yeah, Lisa Joe says that she, like me, tries to keep her opinions pretty open. We don't know until we know exactly. That's what I'm saying. I can't say for sure whether, like I said, I have my opinions and theories and thoughts, but that just because I think something doesn't mean that it's true. Just like, I'm not one of those creators that say, just because I said this is what I think, this is what happened. Absolutely not. We don't know. We don't know what we don't know exactly. So I'm reserving a final judgment until hopefully one of these days we will know the truth in this case. Woo, Chris is a tall one. Chris Gideon says he's 6'3". That's my oldest nephew. He's around 6'2", 6'3", somewhere around there. He's a tall, skinny dude. Looks like a beanpole. Your typical beanpole. Yep, I absolutely believe that too. I agree with you with that, Miranda, that Damien is a narcissist. Yes, ma'am. Like I said, even if it turns out that the three didn't do it, I'm not saying that Damien is an angel by any means. Now, each to their own. I'm not judging, but some things that I've heard him say and some practices that he's into, you know, not for everybody, not for everybody. I'll just put it that way. And like I said, I don't like to judge because we're just talking about judging them for, they were, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, basically judged and focused on because of the way they look, the music they listen to, and all this stuff. And then I'm sitting here talking about, but not for everybody, but you know, but I agree. In my opinion, Damien has, in my unexpert laywoman's opinion, exhibited some narcissistic traits. But that's just my opinion. Yeah, Miss Lisa Joe said I would want attention if I was in his position. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it could either way, either way. All right. Yeah, exactly. I agree with Miss Lisa Joe also. Being a narcissist doesn't mean that you're an offender. a red rumor. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. In quotations, she put, maybe more likely to be, though. They said, and I've heard of probably even Mr. Steve say that. He's probably long gone, but just because you show, and I've other creators that I've watched that are professionals too, like Mr. Steve said, just because you have, you might have psychopathic, psychopathic tendencies or narcissistic. It's too late for me to be saying the big words. Narcissistic tendencies doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go out and unalive somebody, but it doesn't mean that you won't either, So we don't know. Right now, you're talking about, I almost said ducks, dogs. I saw duck in there. Lisa Jo said, Nova Scotia duck tolling. Hold on. Let me put on Nova Scotia duck tolling or trolling retrievers. I'm assuming you're talking about doggies. Puppies, fur babies. Okay. I'm really getting loopy, so yeah. Sunshine says, I'm in Florida and it was like 1,000 degrees today. Yeah, I can imagine if it's this humid in Arkansas, I can imagine what it's like in Florida. Awful. Oh, Miss Barb said that it's wherever she is in Missouri. It's beautiful here. Got all my plants out and set outside. Stay away from my phone. Exactly, Miss Barb. Miss Barb, you're always always sending you thoughts, prayers, and good vibes. That's what I'm trying to say. We love you, Miss Barb, and Miss Marion, and Mr. Steve, and everybody else. Oh God, yeah, I'm goofy, goofier than I usually am. It's about time for me to get out of here. Yep, Danny says we're all entitled to our opinions. Absolutely. Yep, everybody's opinion is welcome. Just respect each other. That's all we ask. Respect each other's opinions. Oh Lord, Miranda, she's a tall one too. Miranda says she's 5'7". My mom is taller than my dad. My dad was about my height, maybe a little, maybe 5'3.5", 5'4", and my mom was taller. Oh, Miss Lisa Joe says she's 5'6". Dandy says she's petite and short, but she feels like she's 6'2". Barbara says she's going to listen to this again before I make a decision. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not, yeah, Miss Barbara, that's a good point. I'm not here to try to sway anybody's opinion one way or another. Because like I said, on any given time, depending on what I'm looking at in this case or what I've read or heard or anything new that I've read, I'm probably one of the few people that can actually say they're on the fence. Usually it's either one side or the other when it comes to this case about whether you think they're guilty or innocent. But yeah, we won't know until we know. All right, guys. Thank you, Miss Barbara. I don't think I'm in there. Miss Barbara says, thank you, Southern Gal. Love you all. We love you too, Miss Barb. All right, guys. I got to save some voice for tomorrow night, and I got to get out and do some work tomorrow, make some money tomorrow during the day. So, I will see everybody. Do a little bit of try to multitask here. I love all you guys. I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Until then, take care of yourselves. Be careful out there. Take care of each other. That's the most important thing we can do. Take care of our fellow human beings. And get it on the right thing. I'm going to leave you here with the most important part of this case. As always, Stevie, Christopher, and Michael. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Sorry, I hit the wrong one. What am I doing? All right, there's